I've been waiting my whole life for this one. Orthopedic surgeon and husband for The View host Sonny Hostin has been named in a federal lawsuit alleging insurance fraud.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions? Yeah. Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there.
What happens when daytime TV's queen of moral superiority crashes into a $450 million scandal and gets roasted alive by two men who treat sarcasm like a weaponized sport? This isn't just a public meltdown. It's a comedy masterclass, a PR disaster, and a front row seat to the roast of the decade. Buckle up, because karma didn't just knock on Sonny Hostin's door. It kicked it open with Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus driving the wrecking ball. Imagine this, you're lounging in a $5,000 designer suit.
He is not implicated in the lawsuit at all, but it's just, Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. Let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality and equality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show?
In the criminal case now, the prosecutors are like, oh, really? Well, how about we add some additional fraud charges onto you? And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud, which I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence.
Chair that looks like it belongs in a modern art museum, equal parts discomfort and ego. You're sipping on a glass of artisanal, hand-frothed oat milk, pinky in full extension. Suddenly, your inbox lights up with legal notices like it's Cyber Monday for lawsuits. Do you panic? Of course not. You grab your cape of moral superiority, hit the camera, and preach to the masses like you're scolding a toddler who threw plastic in the compost bin. Welcome to Sonny Hostin's personal PR inferno. Yes, that's Sonny, the unchallenged Duchess of Disdain on The View.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sonny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter.
The same woman who could melt steel beams with a well-timed glare. She's the kind of person who could shame a ficus into feeling complicit in systemic oppression, all while pretending her own. Life wasn't teetering on the edge of financial disaster, because while Sonny was busy trying to morally gentrify society, installing smug filters and virtue-signaling presets, her husband was pulling off a masterclass in how to financially tank a household. Cue the main event, a $450 million lawsuit that slammed into the Hostin.
The problem is that you have to go after the racist people. And if the CEO goes, you know what, I'm not going to allow a woman on my show or man that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people. And this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Yeah, Emily.
Household like a rogue espresso in a Starbucks parking lot brawl. Now any sane person would take cover after detonating a financial nuke that size. But Sonny, oh no. She strutted back onto The View with the same smug energy you'd expect from someone who just gave your conscience a surprise. IRS audit. But just as the media circus began,
Makes Sonny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by The View's gravitational pull. All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
Two comedic juggernauts rolled in. Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus armed with more firepower than a roast session at a Comedy Central reunion. Enter Greg Gutfeld, the espresso-fueled overlord of late-night satire. Greg's had The View in his comedic crosshairs for years. He sees it as the Olympics of performative outrage. So when the news of Sonny's husband's financial fiasco broke, Greg didn't need prep. His sarcasm engine was already warmed up. With just a raised eyebrow, he unleashed a surgical strike of satire. His verdict? Sonny preaching about ethics while her household drowns in legal quicksand is like getting relationship advice. From the cast of Jersey Shore, it wasn't just savage, it was poetic justice. Greg didn't yell. He didn't rant. He let irony do the heavy lifting. The result? A masterpiece. He painted Sonny sipping bubbly on air, while her family finances were being turned into fiscal mulch. The message was crystal clear. If hypocrisy had a remix, Sonny would be voguing to it in a sequin robe. Viewers ate it up like limited edition chicken sandwiches. Reddit blew up. Twitter transformed into a meme. Battlefield. Sonny holding a bankruptcy for dummies.
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican, but every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being attacked.
Guide while wagging a finger of moral superiority. But just as the echo of laughter reached its peak, the second act hit. And it hit hard. Here comes Tyrus, no yelling, no flailing arms. Just calm, deliberate demolition. Tyrus is a one-man wrecking crew of philosophical clarity. When he speaks, it's not commentary, it's consequence. And Sonny? She got every ounce of it. He asked the question that no one at The View would dare breathe. How does someone so obsessed with being a moral compass miss the tidal wave of chaos flooding her own home? And then with precision, he dismantled the farce. Tyrus didn't just criticize, he diagnosed. Sonny, he said, had become the face of elite denial, finger-wagging at working Americans for not being woke enough, while her own foundation crumbled beneath her. This wasn't just financial collapse. It was a narrative implosion, a brand meltdown. Sonny spent years building herself as the unshakable oracle of intellectual virtue, only to be undone by a crash course in how not to handle your money. That's like Gordon Ramsay burning toast. If Greg brought the flames, Tyrus brought the wrecking ball. Where Greg weaved satire, Tyrus bulldozed logic straight into the foundation. He nailed it. The View isn't a talk show anymore. It's performance art, an opera of outrage.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sonny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity and she had no idea who she was.
Where accountability is just another background prop. The contrast was brutal. On one screen, Sonny Hostin, daytime television's moral megaphone, lecturing America on justice, empathy, and ethics. On the other, a $450 million disaster unfolding in her own backyard like a real-life Shakespearean tragedy in designer heels. Trust vaporized. Credibility? Burnt to a crisp. The View? A parody of its former self. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a cultural reckoning. And in the court of public opinion, Sonny didn't just lose the case. She lost the room. So what do you think? Is this just another celebrity caught in their own hypocrisy? Or the definitive collapse of elite, moral theater? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Roast, defend, or meme away. And if you love watching media narratives unravel in real time, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a takedown like this one. Because this was the roast that lit up a $450 million dumpster fire, and we're just getting started.